All right, we are back for Roundtable Dolphins, episode number 18, I think I said. Yeah, 18.
You did.
Yeah, I am joined by Billy Melissa. Buddy is not with us. He is busy doing whatever it is that he's doing, but we needed to come on here and do a recap of round one for the 2026 NFL draft, which kicked off last night, Thursday, from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
A whole lot of craziness going on in the draft, a whole lot of craziness for the teams that we're going to be discussing later on, but we're going to jump right into this for the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins had the number 11 and number 30 overall picks, but they did not stick to the number 11 or number 30 overall picks. Instead, they moved down from 11 to 12 with the Dallas Cowboys, picking up two extra fifth round picks. Excuse me, that would be crazy if it was two first. Picking up two fifth round picks. Let me get those numbers really quickly. Number 177 and number 180 in that fifth round from the Dallas Cowboys to move down just one spot. The Dallas Cowboys would go on to pick Ohio State safety Caleb Downs, setting up the Dolphins to presumably take Miami Hurricanes edge player Ruben Bain Jr., which did not happen. Instead,
Or multiple other people.
or other people, instead, they went way outside the box and ended up picking up Alabama tackle Kadyn Proctor. Yeah. So, you know,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
initial snap judgment grade that I gave this was a D, simply for the simple fact of, yes, the Dolphins need an offensive lineman. Yes, they did not get Francis Mauigoa, and they did not get Spencer Fano. They ended up going with Kadyn Proctor instead. They did need offensive linemen, so I'll say this: I gave them a D initially, but I do believe that D is no longer a D in my opinion. I have cooled on the decision a lot more after the initial shock of it. I think the grade that I gave it was mostly shock value because of passing up on Ruben Bain. But when you
Yep.
think about it, I'll preface all that. I'll say this: nobody knows who the hell is going to be good when it comes to college prospects. So we cannot sit here and say that Kadyn Proctor is not going to be a good offensive lineman, that Ruben Bain is going to be a generational edge player, that Caleb Downs is going to be a generational safety. It's just when you look at all of the analysis, all the what pundits say, and when you're looking at tape and all that, Caleb Downs and Ruben Bain are sure things, as sure as you can possibly be into terms of like the tape and what they've done production wise in college. But Kadyn Proctor, yeah, he is a massive human being. He is 6'6", 352 pounds. I think he weighed at 358 during the pro day. He is a massive, massive human being. The issue there is he's had problem with his weight through his collegiate career, which has been a talking point for many people, including John Eric Sullivan, had to bring it up during his press conference of the pick itself. He said it's well documented that his weight has been a problem. Regardless of that, though, they are very excited that they got Kadyn Proctor, and he made it a point to say it would not have mattered if they stuck at number 11 and Caleb Downs was there. It would have been Proctor. They went through many scenarios where Proctor was that pick. They were very excited about him, and that's the pick.
I mean, it's crazy because, like, I don't think, did we talk about him at all in our, like,
Not
few
even a
weeks
little
of,
bit.
did we even touch, like, did we even mention his name? I don't think so. So, like,
No.
I think that that's the initial thing, isn't it? It's like just a completely left of field, like, hold on a second, because there was so many crazy things going on at that point. And then just after them, obviously, the Rams came in and did something crazy too. And I think that like it just seemed like I can understand why that snap judgment was like, oh, what is this? With
Mhm.
the other options on the board. But it seems like, Sullivan's excited about him. He's complimented him. I think he even went as far to say as like there was no one in a draft like him, period. And so like he really, really obviously sees something. And you know what? He was brought in to do this. He was brought in to identify the guys that other people aren't picking up on, the guys that can get the best for his team specifically. He may have seen Bane and been like, you know what we're doing here, maybe this year doesn't fit the bill. And maybe next year they might even be looking forward to 2027 and knowing what holes they're going to fill in the defense. And they did, fill a defensive hole later, which we'll get to. But yeah, I mean, I think it's hard when you see someone as giant as that to not see how they can be beneficial for you. I was seeing that all night. I think it was like 9 offensive linemen went in the first round, which is huge. It's a big demand across the league and growing. And especially now that I think this also speaks to, for me, Achan's security
Hmm.
in the building. They've gone and they've put insurance in for him. They're like, this guy's gonna help you out. And the same for why am I blanking on his name?
Malik Willis. No, there you go. That's
Yeah.
fine.
I'm too busy thinking of all the draft prospects.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, like that's a massive investment into your run game, and maybe that is where they're starting. Maybe they're just testing the offense out this year. Maybe that is where they're investing their time this year, because they know that they've got a little bit of a grace period to kind of get it all together. And they did put in a defensive player. They've got that covered. So yeah, I think that now the flames have settled a little bit. I've looked into a bit more, read a bit more. It seems like that's their speciality, is finding these guys. So welcome to Miami.
Yeah. No, I agree with a lot what you said right there. Like after the initial shock of it has cooled, it's definitely not a D in my opinion. It may be like a B minus. It may have jumped up a little bit more on that side for me.
Like Ione was still there as well.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
were lots of other options for them to go through, but this was obviously their guy. So
yeah, yeah, exactly. But what Sullivan said too, he's unique, he's rare, he's a 350 pound man with unique athletic traits that can play four spots across the line of scrimmage, the left tackle, right
yeah,
tackle, on both guards. Athletic traits for a man his size are through the roof. He said, I know there's been questions about his weight. It's well documented. Obviously, we were very well aware. We did our due diligence with our resources. We felt really good about where he is at. We brought him in on a 30 visit, and I feel his conviction and desire to be a good football player. And I watched a couple of interviews with him, and he had an interview, I believe, at the Combine where he said, a lot of people don't understand that I'm a gifted athlete, and I didn't know this up until last night, but he also carried the ball as a running back, as a massive running back.
hey,
Yeah,
hey, look at him
that's
go.
crazy. Like he had 5 carries for 16 yards. In his final season. And I watched the tape of him carrying it. The dude can move. Even at 350 pounds, he can move. So I'm not saying that's what the Dolphins are going to do. I'm just saying, like, what other 350-pound lineman can move and get any kind of yardage whatsoever?
Yeah.
So 3.1 yards per carry for a massive 350-pound lineman, that's pretty good.
When
That's
you're on 3rd and 3, and
hey.
that happens more often than not nowadays, and with these crazy things like tush pushes and all kinds
Mhm.
of swanky plays going on around the league, like they can definitely find an exciting way to make him beneficial in that way too. I think it was that versatility for them, saying that he's played across the line and been
Yeah.
able to do multiple things. And when you're building around that right now, you don't necessarily know who's going to fit in where. Like he seems like the most suitable player for them.
Yeah, and that especially is true because the Dolphins have deep needs on the offensive line. They have Patrick Paul in the left tackle position, which is locked down. They have Aaron Brewer in the center position, but beyond that, there's no really dead set player. Austin Jackson's coming back, but A, he's on the final year of his contract, and B, he cannot stay healthy. So you think about it in terms of where can Kadyn Proctor play? If Austin Jackson is healthy, he's the right tackle. Then you kick Proctor in on the inside, either right guard or left guard. Jonas Avenea, it struggled mightily, was one of the worst rated guards. He was a rookie. Maybe he's going to elevate his game, maybe not. But then you go and find more offensive linemen. In the draft itself or through free agency to bolster that, undrafted free agents as well. You look at what you got going on there after the smoke clears of the initial draftees. But the Dolphins, look, I'm happy about it because the Dolphins needed to start with offensive linemen no matter what, and they did just that. So that right there, in and of itself, deserves a better grade because they're addressing, like you said, the need to find somebody to open run lanes for Devon Achan and to protect Malik Willis because you need to see what Malik Willis can do. But if he has no offensive line to do so, even with the limited wide receiver action they got going on and offensive playmakers, you still need to protect him. So
Yep.
that in and of itself And I'll just add this on top of it: the pure conviction from John Eric Sullivan and head coach Jeff Hafley and everybody involved is also what is deserving of a better grade, because they have been saying this from the beginning that they want to play bully ball. They want to get bigger, they want to get more physical, and if anything else, that is exactly what Kadyn Proctor is. He is a big, physical human being. I've watched tape, saw him blocking two defenders at once because he's that huge. He has that wingspan. He has the ability to do that. If he becomes a guard, he's going to be a oversized guard, which always can be a good thing, especially in the run game. And that's what the Dolphins are going to be doing. They're going to be running the ball a whole hell of a lot with Achant as well as with Malik Willis, because he's a mobile quarterback, which the Dolphins haven't really had in the last,
Mhm.
I don't know how many years. So, with all of that said, I think it is a good pick. I don't know. We don't know what Ruben
No
Baines is
one
going to be.
knows.
Yeah, nobody knows what Ruben Baines is going to be, or Caleb Downs is going to be, or whoever else would have been there. Makai Lemon, they could have got there too. They need a wide receiver badly. They didn't choose a wide receiver in the first round. We'll get into that next pick shortly. But for all intents and purposes, on top of, we didn't even mention that they did pick up those two fifth round picks, including being able to trade back with the Cowboys. That's two more potential players in the fifth round. There's been plenty of fifth round gems. For all intents and purposes, this is a slam dunk pick for the Dolphins and John Eric Sullivan as his first time being a general manager, running a front office. They stuck to their guns. They stayed put. They wanted Kadyn Proctor. They got Kadyn Proctor, and they picked up two extra fifth round picks in the process. So,
Yeah, and they kept it all under the radar, you know. No one knew that that was what they were going to do, and I think that that's when general managers do best, is when no one knows what you're going to do. You just come out of left field. No one's looking at this guy over here because you're not looking at him. No one's looking at him, and then suddenly it's like, oh, all eyes on him. Like that was completely unexpected. And they've stayed true to their word of wanting to create competition in the building, bringing in more potential on that offensive line. So I think that they're being exactly who they said they were going to be. So it's a good place to start as a general manager and as a head coach.
100%, 100%. Moving right along, we are going to jump right into where the Dolphins should have been picking at number 30, but instead they chose to move up with the San Francisco 49ers, just three spots, and they ended up taking San Diego State cornerback Chris Johnson. Again, this was kind of a little bit of a shock. I don't know that they necessarily needed to jump up that many spots, but they ended up giving up. So the number 30 and the number 90 went to the San Francisco 49ers, and then they got number 138 back. So basically, they're even again. They went up to 13 picks. Now they're back down to 11 picks after those two. So they stayed even after all the smoke is cleared, and what they did, their trades back up and down, whatever. But they picked up Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson is one of the top cornerbacks in this draft. I like the pick. I still think they probably didn't have to trade up, because I think if they would have stuck at number 30, they could have either picked Chris Johnson and or Denzel Boston, which I was
Yeah.
hoping that they were going to do at number 30. He ended up going to number 30 overall. Denzel Boston did anyway. So whatever. But Chris Johnson is a really, really gifted cornerback. The dude killed it at San Diego State. He allowed only 11 completions. He got 4 interceptions and 0 touchdowns in 2025. Even more impressive is he only gave up, what is it? Hold on, I'm trying to find it. It's like 11 point something passer rating to opposing quarterbacks when he was targeted. Can't find it. Where
Mm.
did that go? Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. I can't find it. Anyway, uh,
Something like that.
yeah, ridiculous, 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 ridiculous. Yeah, 11.6 or something like that passer rating, which is insane for a cornerback. Like that's as about as locked down as you want to get. 16.1 passer rating, my bad, with 4 interceptions and 5 passes defended in 2025.
I mean, and he's 21 years old.
21 years old.
He's moldable. He's going to come in. Obviously they've kind of cleared out the house, and so that they are really starting young. When they said they wanted to get younger, they meant we're going the youngest possible. Yeah, they said great things about him. So he's got great feet, great balance, body control, but he's physical and he's big and he can play, loads of different. Again, I feel like they're really going in on versatile players, players that don't need to be locked into specific positions, players that they can move around a little bit while they're figuring out and finding their feet. And I think also, they've said this about him and about Proctor about their personality, really complimenting that, and that they're,
Mhm.
and I think that they're going to have to be with the organization that it seems like Sullivan and Hathaway are going to build. People who have to be humble, who want to come in, who want to work, who don't think that they've just got the job day one. And that he talks about him wanting to improve,
Mhm.
and also about the potential to kind of become a leader in the room. So again, a great pick. I think it was crazy just because there was so many good picks all the way down to
Mhm.
the end of the first round, really, that I think anyone that they would have picked would have been good and would have helped them out on their mission next season. But I think they got themselves a good one.
Yeah. So per Pro Football Focus, if anybody cares or follows that, I like to look at it. It's very interesting. But Chris Johnson was the second rated cornerback with a 91.6 overall grade. He was the third rated in coverage with 92.4 and 16th with 86.6 pass rush grade. So
I mean, getting him at 27.
you got him at 27. I mean, he was projected to go somewhere in the 25 to 30 range anyway, so the Dolphins felt like they needed to jump up to get him, and they didn't have to give anything up extra. So again, that's a win for them. I think he's a really gifted athlete. Sullivan did talk about that. He said that he could potentially play nickel, he could potentially just play cornerback or safety because that's how good he is ball hawk wise. But they said they're probably not going to do that, but maybe they will. But again, like you just said, versatility. So it's like you can either play nickel, you can either play just cornerback position, or you can go and play safety. So, and on top of that, Chris Johnson had something like 600 special team snaps, and he was a gunner and had a pump block. So
Hmm.
you look at that too, like he can potentially be a special teams ace for the Dolphins.
Yeah, two return touchdowns too
Yep,
with
yep,
his six interceptions. So he's
yep.
got a lot of potential, and I think that he's found a good place to be. So I look forward to seeing what he's going to do in Miami. Um, I'm having a look. I'm just like can't believe that Miami have so many more picks to make
And that's the thing. And
for
and
the
and
next few years
again, like, okay, so again, we don't know right now, is John Eric Sullivan a good talent evaluator? We don't know right now if Jeff
until they
Halfley
get
is a
on the
good
field.
coach. Yeah, we don't know. We have no effing idea what any of this is going to pan out to be. But in terms of like, again, sticking to their convictions, sticking to what they've been preaching, um, John Eric Sullivan said everything worked out the way that they needed it to work out. All of the coaching staff, all of the front office executives, all of everybody got together and were dead set on getting those two players in the first round, and that's exactly what they did. Now, I will say that that's probably what general managers are supposed to say, but regardless of that, if nothing else, we know we've heard John Eric Sullivan talk since day one. This is who he is. This is what he said. He's very direct. I believe him. I believe him fully in what he's saying, what he's trying to build. So again, you got to look at it. This is a huge first round for the Dolphins, huge first round for Sullivan as a first time general manager, as the guy that's going to be responsible when, if and when these picks work out or don't work out. And he said as much. He said very plainly, look, I'm the one to blame here. I'm the one that's going to take on the responsibility if things go south or if things go really well. It's on me. Again, I love that. It's accountability that the Dolphins have not really had. I don't remember a time when Chris Greer's like, this is my fault. I think he's danced around the blame game there, and that's kind of
Mm.
what was one of the issues with him. Whereas Sullivan's like, look, dude, if Chris Johnson sucks, if not sucks, that's mean, if he doesn't pan out, he doesn't pan out with them or whatever, he's still gonna be responsible. It's on me. I picked these players.
Well, it
Cut.
is, once they
Yeah.
get in the building, like it's up to you. Their potential is up to you. Like these guys have shown themselves to be first round picks. And I say this all the time, just because, and I think it happens a lot with quarterbacks, not necessarily many other positions, but they're so quick to no longer have grace for these players. Like the second a quarterback comes in and then like, messes up their first season, it's always, always, always this young quarterback's fault. And it's like, no, these guys are ending up in NFL organizations. These are supposed to be the best of the best coaches. And so if these coaches cannot pull the best out of them, it is not necessarily the player's fault. And so I like that from Hafley and Sullivan kind of taking that on that shoulder and being like, hey, if this doesn't work out, it's on us.
Yeah. Oh, also, I gave the Chris Johnson trade up and pick a B. I think that's a solid.
Solid.
I think
Yeah.
it's a solid choice for them. I think, again, like I would have been a little bit happier had they brought in Denzel Boston, but the draft is deep for wide receivers in the second and third round, so obviously it's not something that they needed to address. Uh,
Yeah.
they were previous mock drafts had the Dolphins taking Spencer Fano, Vega, even or Francis Mauigoa, and then going the Colton Hood from Tennessee and or Jermon McCoy from Tennessee. But obviously Jermon fell down because of that torn ACL that he suffered in 2025. So
Yeah.
obviously a bunch of teams are concerned that that's going to affect his ability to be ready for the 2026 season or what have you. Um,
And with
Colton Hood,
so many great options,
yes,
what's the point of risking it?
right, Colton, yeah, exactly. Colton Hood would have been obviously another strong choice for them. Let me look this up real quick. So the Athletic, the Beast. I don't know if you took a look at that. It's just a compilation of like every single draft prospect and like their stats and all that, and they rank
Mm,
them and yada yada yada, on and on and on. So let's see. Let me go to the cornerbacks real quick. So Johnson was right below Jermon McCoy. So Mansour Delane was number one. Obviously went to the Chiefs. Jermon McCoy, and then Chris Johnson. So he was the third ranked according to this
yeah.
cornerback. So obviously the Dolphins could have gone Jermon McCoy, but obviously them, much like other teams, were probably a little concerned and turned off. But the idea of taking somebody who just tore their ACL, which obviously you don't, like you just said, there's too many good players for them to want to do that or for them
Hmm.
to take the risk. So overall, I would say with an upgraded grade of that, I would say that I would give the Dolphins a B minus
Overall for round
overall
one,
for round
I
one.
think
B,
that's kind. Yeah, I think B. You know, I think
yeah,
they stood by who they are. They did what they said they were gonna do, and if these guys don't work out, well then, I think for me, what I'm seeing is they're testing out the offense's potential this year. And it's why they've done the contracts the way that they have and why they're maybe holding out for Achan. I don't know. I know that situation with Achan is still developing, but maybe they're trying to see if this is the offense that they're going to end up with, this dominant running offense. And you're in a really strong division, you know. You got to play some really good teams 2 times a year, so you got to kind of figure out what works against them. And I think that both of these players are great, so B from me.
no, I mean, that's very fair. Like I said, I'm a little bit lower just simply because I'm still a little like I don't know about Kadyn Proctor, but looking at the tape and looking at everything, and obviously like the benefit of having a 6'6", 350-pound lineman is huge, but it really depends on how he performs and can he carry that weight? Can he lose some weight? Because
Hmm.
Patrick Paul is also very similar in size. I believe Patrick Paul's like 6'6", but he's also only 325 pounds. So the concern with the higher weight is you are more at risk for an injury. And
Yeah.
that's the concern with Kadyn Proctor, obviously. But if he can slim down and, you know, a little bit, 10, 15 pounds ish by the time through training camp and preseason, I think he's going to be a great pick for the Dolphins. I think the versatility is there. Obviously, they still have some questions on offensive line, and they're going to have to bolster that, pick more offensive linemen up here in the second, third, fifth. They have a bunch of fifth round picks at this point. Like they have a bunch of picks left over,
Put the
which
whole
is
fifth round. It's just
yeah,
them.
yeah. They have crazy amount of like. Let me see what their picks are now because I don't really know the updated one with all the extra picks now. So
They've
they have
got, I think they've got 6 picks in the top 100
one,
still.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So they have 1, 2. They still have three threes. They have two fours. They have three fives and two sevens right now.
A lot of
Still
potential,
a lot of potential
but
to
still a
find
lot of
the
great players left.
yeah. I'll say prediction wise, or rather needs wise, he still hasn't been drafted, and I'm hoping that he's not going to be drafted. I have a feeling they're going to move up again. I just have a feeling that they're going to move up to try to take Denzel Boston. But you have the Buffalo Bills there at let me see.
The Bills didn't want any part of
Yeah,
that.
so
They
the
just were
Bill
like, keep trading
well
down.
the San Francisco 49ers traded twice out of the first
Yeah.
round and they didn't have any picks though. So uh the Bills picked there at number 35 overall. And he could very well go before this, but the Dolphins are number 11 in the second round, which is number 43 overall. If the dream scenario is that Denzel Boston falls to them, perfect. Perfect.
I mean, yeah.
But but good. Good. I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Yeah. Where are they in number two again?
43. They're number 11 overall in the second round.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be a very if, but if he is. And I mean, this is the thing is we say that, but then yesterday, seeing Bane fall all the way down and even Bane was sat there like, what?
That's crazy. He
I've rolled all
fell
the way
through.
out to Pittsburgh and I'm sat here. But I think that it's also really good for players because sometimes it
Yeah.
just lights a little bit more of a fire under them. So
Yeah.
we don't know what's going to happen. He could very well be there. The way the chips have fallen so far.
Yeah. And the other thing too is like realistically, the other biggest need for the Miami Dolphins, apart from offensive line, was wide receiver. They need to address that. I don't know if they're going to.
Yeah.
Um, right there. If they lose out on Denzel Boston, there's also Jeremy Bernard, I believe, that they
Hmm.
could end up picking up, which would be a decent pick in my opinion. But if those two are also gone, there's a lot of really good edge players, and the Dolphins need edge players as well. Even though they picked up David Ajabo and Josh Uche, and they have Chop Robinson, they still have a deep need at edge. So I don't know. I really don't
Yeah.
know. No, the way the first round went, there's no way anybody's going to be able to predict anything out beyond this point.
From
like,
here on out, it's a free for all.
I saw a couple mock drafts of people trying to do the second round right now, and then they had the Arizona Cardinals taking Carson Beck at the top of the second. I'm like, what? Anyway, so we're not a Cardinals podcast, but I mean the point being like it's been so crazy that you cannot.
No.
The first round there was how many trades? There was like five trades, I believe it was.
Five. I
Yeah,
think the
crazy.
Chiefs, Cowboys,
The
Bills,
Dolphins,
Dolphins, Niners. Yeah, a lot going on.
yeah, the Niners twice. I think the Titans or the
Titans
Jets.
did too.
the
Yeah,
the
Titans.
Jets moved up. That's how they got
Yeah,
Amari Cooper at number 30 overall. So I mean, you know,
anything could happen.
anything could happen. I was okay. So I was. Well, this is a different podcast. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that. I'll get into that later. But yeah, so it's been crazy. Yeah, B minus B. I think I will give Sullivan credit right now again, and Jeff Halfley credit because they really did stick to their guns and they picked the players that they believe are the guys for them, the type of football that they want to play. We don't know what that football is. We don't know what that identity is. Jeff Halfley said that himself. We don't know what this is yet.
No,
They have training camp to get through. They have preseason to get through, and then we will see what this Dolphins team is truly made of. We cannot predict or expect that any of these players are going to pan out, or that none of them are going to not pan out. They could be all great players. We don't know, And the simple fact is, they're also rookies, and everybody has to remember that. The good part, which I brought up, I believe, a couple weeks ago, is that because of the dire nature of the current Dolphins roster, a lot of these guys are going to be able to play almost immediately, and I think
yeah,
there's a huge benefit to that because we get to see what these rookies are made of instead of sitting behind on the bench down that depth chart, and then you don't even get to see them much in the first year, maybe the second year. But a lot of these guys, if they work hard enough, will either be a starter or be a swing rotational player and get in there almost immediately. So again, we're going to get to see what this Dolphins team is made of. There's a hell of a lot more picks to go, but in
yep.
terms of the first round, I'm not mad at it.
No. Initially confused. Now, like, sure, with all that talent left on the board, why not? You got to just do what holes you need to fill next. And I just agree. Like, it's going to be exciting for these players to get into Miami, get on the field straight away, really kind of get their reps in and build up that, as the team is growing, build up that identity with them. And so, great so far from me. Good job, Dolphins. Let's see what you got this weekend.
I agree. Yeah, they have 11 more picks to go, which is insane to think about that they picked two already and there's still 11 to go.
Yeah,
I still don't think they're going to stay put. I think they're going to move around a little bit more because they have the flexibility right now
they
to
already
do
have.
so.
So
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I'm right. If they go pick Denzel Boston or Jeremy Bernard, I don't know. I'm not even going to try to guess what they're going to
yeah.
do with number two because it's just been so crazy. But it's been Roundtable Dolphins episode number 18. We will be back next week to talk more about the full draft, our favorite picks, our least favorite picks, and all that good stuff. Thank you, Billy, for joining me once again, and we will be back next week.